What's up, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. As the bye week goes on, I thought we would take a step back and grade Caleb Williams' first month with Ben Johnson as his head coach and obviously as his play caller and offensive coordinator as well. So I thought we would dive in here and kind of grade the first month and just take a step back and just see where everything sits 4 games into the season. Obviously, the Bears, some momentum going into the bye week with a couple of wins here. So that always helps. But plenty of ups, plenty of downs when it comes to Caleb Williams so far. Before we dive into some of the numbers and just some of the things that I have seen, if you want to help this channel out, hit that subscribe button. The growth we have had this season so far has been amazing. It's been awesome to see some new faces, new people in the live chats and comment section of our videos. So if you want to support, hit the sub button if you haven't already. If you have, share this channel with a friend. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's just take a look at the raw numbers real quick and kind of evaluate there. Then we'll get into some of the where he ranks in the advanced areas, EPA, PFF, and where some of these outlets have him overall. Overall stats, 62.3% completion. Last year, 62.5. So virtually the same now through the first 4 games. He's up. Everywhere else, he's clearly up. Pass yards per game, touchdown interception ratio. He's got 8 versus 2. That's a really good thing. Passer rating almost 98. Last year it was 87. Rushing is very similar pace to what we saw last year. He rushed for 489 last year. I think he's on pace for like 470 this year. So that's very, very similar so far. I think with the accuracy, listen, he misses some of the layups sometimes, right? I think, and we'll talk about his areas of growth in a little bit. I think his footwork and his base has been better, especially on the intermediate and downfield throws. You could see him hit that back foot, shift the hips if he's needs to, shift from right to left or vice versa and deliver a strike. Sometimes, he'll kind of throw a ball, to the check down or into the flat, kind of flat footed, just I don't know if lazy's the right word, but he's got so much arm talent and he'll just skip a pass or something like that. And look, as a 6'1" quarterback, he's had some balls batted. Now, Max Crosby made a few incredible plays, but he's probably going to have a couple of those every game. Now, the offensive line's got to do a better job. I heard Adam Hogue talking about this on CHGO. When a defensive lineman jumps up like that to try and bat a ball, you got to make him pay for that. You got to hit him in the chest and make him think twice about doing that again when they do that. So hopefully that's something they identify on film with the offensive line. But even though the accuracy is about the same, I do feel like overall the ball placement and overall accuracy in some ways is better. I'd have to double check the adjusted accuracy to see where he sits there, but still certainly an area he can be better at. The lofty goal of 70%, that's probably a long shot. I was always 65, 66. If you could be 65 plus, that would be a 2.5%, 3% increase. And with him hitting on more big plays downfield, that's been a talking point, the improved deep ball, then, you'll live with some of the shortcomings in terms of the overall accuracy when it comes to Caleb Williams. All right, let's take a look at where he sits in some advanced QB rankings from some different services and some different advanced statistical areas. PFF, and I'm factoring in taking out backups, like Mitch Trubisky on like 10 snaps graded out well. So I'm not counting him, and I'm not counting backups who have played 2 games or less. He's 10th among all quarterbacks. That's good. That's, I wouldn't say he's quite played like a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's been top half of the league for sure. And, I think through the first month of the year when Ben Johnson acknowledged there would be some bumps in the road, I think that's a good place to be. Top half of the league. PFF has him 10th among starters, so that's a good spot. QBR 15th. It's like 62.3 out of 100. 50 is average, so he's above average. 62.3. I think that's I think 15th in the league there. That's probably a little more indicative. There might be a couple backups a little higher than him. I'd have to double check on that one. I filtered that out with PFF, but either way, somewhere between 10 and 15. Again, good. EPA overall is 18th. I did filter out backups there. Passing EPA, which is a stat that Ben Johnson brought up in his introductory press conference, he is 13th, and that's a pretty good sign because passing EPA is basically just how efficient and explosive at the same time is your passing game. So 13th in the NFL. Okay. Like, I think it can be top 10. I think that's definitely on the table because this team has hit a lot of big plays. If you can, tighten up some of those misses that you're having throughout the course of these games, I think you can get into that top 10 range. And then an area of growth I'm really excited about is his pressure to sack rate. This is a stat that PFF monitors. 13th in the NFL. It's under 14%. So every time he gets pressured, he gets sacked on 13% of those. So 1 out of every 8 pressures he gets sacked. That's pretty good. That's like middle/above average. He's never going to be elite in that area because he's going to try to extend plays, make things happen. I think he's done a better job of avoiding sacks this year, not walking into sacks. One thing he's definitely done a better job of this year is climbing the pocket. And when he is bailing out, he's doing a good job. Like he ducked out of a sack from Max Crosby last week at the end of that game. And instead of, taking a silly sack once he gets out of there, he'll either throw the ball away or try to give his guy a chance, like that Cole Kmet one down the sideline, for example. So, last year at times, it felt like he would take sacks to just avoid throwing incompletions. And when you factor that in this year, too, yeah, the accuracy is the same, but last year, how many sacks did he take just to not throw the ball away? So last year, 62.5%. If he just threw the ball away on the times he should have, he probably would have been more like 61%. So when you factor it in that way, I do think the accuracy is actually up. And just to kind of put a final bow on that pressure to sack rate, last year, 28.2%. This year, less than 14%. So he's cut that in half. He's only been sacked 7 times this year through 4 games. Last year, he got sacked 68 times. That was 4 times per game on average. So he's cut that down in half so far. So you could argue that stat alone is more important than any other because sacks just kill drives. They just do. The data all supports that. So that's definitely a very, very good thing. Okay, we'll break down some more stuff here in just a second, but I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I've been right a lot with my Prize Picks lineups recently. I do a lot of 2 and 3 player lineups. You can go up to 6, which increases your payout up to 2,000 times your entry on certain lineups. But the way it works is simple. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You can do all one sport within football. You can add baseball players, hockey into your lineup. Doesn't matter. 2 to 6 players as long as it's at least 2 or more players on different teams. You can't just do 2 players on the same team. You have to have at least 2 total teams included. And then if you hit, you win money. It's as simple as that. PrizePicks is also the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in a single lineup. Want to pick the more on Caleb Williams touchdowns, yards, passing, and rushing yards? You can do so only on PrizePicks. So get going today. I got a 2-player lineup this week with the Bears on bye week. Both Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones more on their passing yards. They've both been cooking. $20 lineup to win $60. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups once you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. That link will be in the comments and description of this video. Okay, let's just talk overall areas of growth, and then we'll talk about, areas of improvement still needed. And I'll give my, kind of quarter of the season grade for Caleb Williams in this new offense under Ben Johnson. Deep ball accuracy. He was 7 for 14 heading into week 4. Really, if you factor in drops, 2 drops, 9 of 14. This past week, he went 1 for 4, I think, with 1 drop. So if you factor in drops, 7 of 14 plus 1 of 4, that's 8 for 18, but with 3 drops, I think 3. It's at least 2, but at least maybe 3. I'd have to go back and double check this week, but let's say it is 3. 11 of 18, but even if not 10 of 18, that's over 50%. It's well above average on yards, 20-plus yards downfield. That is a clear area of growth. He's throwing the ball with more accuracy on those kind of deep ends and crossers, on the go routes. He feels more comfortable there. And that's a big sign, because when you could start hitting those, imagine once he starts just, stops missing some of the basic ones he misses, right? Like then, he's throwing the ball to all 3 levels of the field with consistency. Play action passing. He was 10th in the NFL in play action passing yards heading into this past week. I still think he's top 10, top 12 in that area. A lot of that coming from under center. We know last year they didn't put him under center that much. That has increased a lot this year. That's a staple of Ben Johnson's offense. And remember, play action passing, this is for a team who doesn't run the ball that well. Now, data over the years has kind of dismissed the myth that you have to be able to run the ball to do play action, but it certainly helps. If you're a dynamic running team and teams know that and you run play action, they're going to cheat up even more than they already would on some play action fakes. So if they could just get the run game going a little bit, that would help that in that stat as well. He's throwing with more anticipation. Not all the time. He's not, Tua with anticipation, but he doesn't have to be because he has a rocket launcher of an arm. You don't need to throw with super anticipation consistently when you have a big arm. You can make up for it with your ability to throw the ball with velocity, which Caleb Williams certainly has. But you look at that touchdown pass to Rome against the Raiders, I thought it was one of the best throws of his career because it's about 30 yards on a line with anticipation. Rome hadn't even gotten into his break yet, much less out of it. And he threw a missile to a spot, trusted the route, trusted the concept, trusted the read, trusted where Rome would be, hit him right on his face mask, catch, touchdown. Reed took the lead. Kind of felt like the offense got rolling a little bit after that against the Raiders. I thought that was just a tremendous play from Caleb Williams with anticipation and obviously showing off the arm strength. And then while it's not perfect, it is better. The base in the footwork, and what I mean by base is just how spread out your feet are and how balanced you are when you're ready to deliver the football. It's not perfect. A lot of his missed throws are the base is off or the footwork isn't where it needs to be. There's there could be an extra hitch in there or something like that. So again, it's not perfect. It's far from, a finished product there, but it is an improvement. You can tell the footwork is much better than it was as a rookie, especially with how much more they're playing under center and the play action and stuff like that, stuff he never did in college. And even last year, they didn't do at that high of a rate, especially compared to the rest of the NFL. So those are some areas of growth. Obviously, that is still an area of improvement as well. While it's better, still needs to improve. Look, he needs to improve in all areas. He's a second-year player, 1 month into a new offense. He shouldn't be a finished product. But I do think he's an improved player from year 1 to year 2 with the arrow pointing up, which is a very, very good thing. So how would I kind of just, take all that information, the eye test, the data, where he's at, where the Bears are at, how would I grade it all? I'd give it a solid B. Not putting the ball in harm's way too much. 4 turnover-worthy plays in 4 games, so he's averaging just 1 play per game where he's putting the ball in harm's way. I can live with that, especially with the increased rate of downfield and explosive plays that this offense is hitting. 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's obviously very good. The downfield accuracy of which I talked about and the improvements on the footwork. And I just feel like he's, each and every week, he's getting more comfortable in this offense, which, is not a simple one. It's a complex one. Don't take my word for it. Take Case Keenum's word for it, a guy who's been in the NFL for a very, very long time. So I think Caleb's in a good place overall. I think the Bears, all things considered, should be pretty pleased, especially with the passing game. The run game's a work in progress. We'll see what adjustments are made there over the bye week. Obviously, got to figure out the offensive tackle situation and DeAndre Swift versus Kyle Monungai, but we'll find that out coming out of the bye. You guys let me know, how would you grade Caleb Williams' first month under Ben Johnson? I gave it a solid B. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us a ton in terms of growth as we continue to pump out content even during the bye week for you guys. My name is Harrison Graham. We're signing off for now. Bear down.